So Nintendo has revealed and released a bunch of numbers, a bunch of financial numbers, different things like that. And kind of buried in there on like the 9th page of it is a little kind of, I guess, slide, if you will, that is a forecast of how many Switch 2 consoles they expect to sell within not the first year, but the first 9 months, technically. So it's going to be up until the end of I believe is March 2026. And they also predict how many software units they expect to sell. With that, of course, we have brand new numbers for the Switch 1 sales. We have new numbers for the Switch 1 software sales and some other interesting numbers. So we're going to discuss all of that here in this video. If you do enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, subscribe for more, and let's go ahead and jump straight into this. So I'm gonna put it up on screen. You guys can take a look with me. So this is the consolidated financial forecast. And again, this is on the 9th slide out of their whole kind of report, if you will. A lot of information in here. But if we look at the Nintendo Switch 2, there's the sales units forecast, and you can see that they're forecasting by FY26, which again is going to be by the end of March 2026, that they're going to be selling about a modest 15 million units, which is actually pretty good if you think about it. Some people are saying, oh, that's very conservative. But I think it's pretty good. And I think within the first year, they're going to easily clear 20 million units, which I think is really solid. To compare, well, we'll talk about Switch in just a second, but software, they plan to sell about 45 million units. There is a little kind of asterisk here saying forecasted software sales. Units do not include the quantity to be bundled with hardware or other products such as Mario Kart World. Software units included in the Nintendo Switch 2 plus Mario Kart World bundle. So basically, they are not including all the Mario Kart World games that are in the Switch 2 bundles. Those are not included. So they're expecting to sell 45 million on top of, whatever, the Mario Kart World bundles are going to be, providing with Mario Kart. So does that make sense? I think that makes sense. I don't know if I made it sound more confusing than anything. So that's what's going on there. They, obviously expect to sell a few more million Switch 1. So for the Nintendo Switch 1, they expect to sell, maybe another 5 million by that time. Software up to, 105 million units. And again, there's an asterisk with the number 2 showing the exact same thing. This, doesn't include bundles and things like that as well. Now, to put that into perspective, the original Switch sold 14.86 million, just under 15 million in its first year. Now, obviously, this is just a forecast. We don't know, exactly how much the Nintendo Switch 2 is actually going to sell, but I think it's pretty safe to say it's probably going to clear 15 million easy, especially when you look at all the pre-orders and how that kind of went about. And at the time of recording, this is currently May 8th, so invitations to the My Nintendo pre-orders for the Nintendo Switch 2 are going to be going out as well. Also the GameCube controller, early invites for that as well. So yeah, so 15 million units, and this is for the first 9 months, because with the Switch 1 it released in March, so it was pretty much a year, from release to the end of the fiscal year. So that's kind of how that works. So very interesting stuff there. If we go over to Nintendo Life, let's do that right now. They have a little bit more of a summary, I guess you can say, that kind of helps summarize some of the other information without us having to scroll through it ourselves. So the report, for example, shows net sales of 164.9 billion yen, which is a 30.3% decrease from the previous year, with net profits down 43.2% to 278.8 billion yen. Obviously, we're getting to the tail end of this generation. I don't know if that's normal, but I would assume that's probably, I would expect to be normal. Yeah, Switch 1 software sales, I'll say, were down 22.2% from the previous year. At 155.41 million units, which included 2.97 million units of bundled software, apparently, is what they say. Notably, the report does state that the forecasts were based on U.S. tariff rates as of April 10th, which you can see right here. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but basically, whatever. For the purposes of our financial forecast for the next fiscal year, U.S. tariff rates effective on April 10th, 2025, U.S. Eastern Time, are maintained throughout the fiscal year. Changes to tariffs rates may affect our financial forecast. We will continue to monitor the situation to respond to changes in market conditions. Yeah, and again, there's a bunch of stuff here. Nintendo's focus is naturally on the new hardware and whatnot. Elsewhere, annual playing users fell by approximately 1 million users to 128 million, and global sell-through of Switch 1 units, hardware sold to customers as opposed to units in the retail chain, is approaching 150 million units. Digital sales were down 26.5% year on year, although the overall proportion of digital sales versus physical rose 3.3% due to a bump in Q4, with digital accounting for 62.9% of software sales. Mobile and IP related sales were down 27%. In terms of some updated numbers, Stealth40k on Twitter just summarizes it really well, so I'm just going to go off of this for you guys instead of having to kind of scroll through it. But Switch has sold 152.12 million units. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is sitting at 68.20. Animal Crossing New Horizons 47.82. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate 36.24. Breath of the Wild 32.81. Super Mario Odyssey 29.28 million. Scarlet and Violet 26.79 million. Pretty good. Pokemon Sword and Shield 26.72 million. Zelda Tears of the Kingdom 21.73 million. Super Mario Party 21.16 million. New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe 18.25 million. Some other games, Super Mario Bros. Wonder 16.03 million. Echoes of Wisdom is sitting at just about 4.09 million. Paper Mario Thousand Year Door 2.10 million. Mario and Luigi Brothership 1.97 million. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD 1.88 million. Donkey Kong Returns HD 1.27 million. So some pretty interesting numbers here. I want to share with you guys here in this video. What do you guys think about all this? Again, these are with the Switch 2, these are predictions with all the Switch 1 numbers, the games and the Switch console sales and stuff. I mean, that's actual sales that we have as of, the end of the previous fiscal year. So the end of March, I believe it was, 2025 is what these numbers are as of. So I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Again, Nintendo's doing pretty good. Things are slowing down a little bit. Again, we're at the tail end of the Switch 2 life cycle, going into the new generation. And so, I would expect that everything would get some pretty crazy bump ups, within this next year going to the Switch 2, like Nintendo's forecasting. I mean, like, what was it, 45 million software, and then like 15 million units. And this is just for like 9 months for the Switch 2. 15 million units for the console. So I don't know, we'll see how it actually plays out when we get to the end of the next fiscal year next year. But for now, that's what it is. Let me know your thoughts. If you enjoyed it, leave a like, subscribe for more. Until the next one, game on. See you guys later.